Hi, my name is Leah Mercier, and I'm here to talk to you today about the database for my theoretical vintage shop known as Vera's Vintage. We'll be starting off talking a little bit about the objectives and goals and business rules of my store. Now, what we want from this database is to keep a record of the store's inventory and be able to store characteristics like its condition, its manufacturer or publisher, and the year or era it was made in. And also, we'd like to track sales and pricing information, keep track of who's buying what, when they're buying it, where it's going to, keep track of when orders are made and when they're shipped, and to keep a record of the store's customers for things like mailing lists and promotions. Business rules include that an item can't have a sale price lower than the price paid for it. The business owner and staff can add and remove inventory. You'll see I have web interface for that soon. Customers must have a valid address. Each piece of inventory will have a unique ID number. You'll see more of that in the database design chart. The age of each piece will be given by year or decade range. You'll be able to search by that in the web interface you'll see. Primary keys cannot be changed or reassigned, and customers can only have one billing address, but they can ship to as many people as they want. And you'll see a way to search that in the web interface as well. Next, we have my ERD, which started with the store's inventory here. And I quickly realized that I had two types of inventory that had different characteristics that needed their own subcharts. So we have home decor and we have books. Books has things that we want to capture like title, last name, first name, and publisher. And home decor is a little bit more general. You want to look at the material, when it was made, and who it was manufactured by. So they each have their own chart, and inventory captures the characteristics that are in common between both of those, including the type of item, that is like area it goes to in the house, which is, kitchen. Books are listed under cookbook, type of book, and the condition. So then the inventory connects to orders, which are made by customers who have their own table as well. And for customers, you wanted to capture their first name, last name, email, and full address. But also we need another table in case they're shipping to somewhere else, in which case you need the shipping address. You'll note that I made sure to differentiate which address was which by adding cust to the customer address and ship to the shipping address, which you'll see a little bit more in the database design diagram here. Okay, this is a little more detailed. As you can see, we have the primary keys and foreign keys defined. Everything goes into the inventory and is given a primary key, and then it is split either into home decor or books. And the primary key carries into the sub chart as the primary and foreign key. There is the combination primary foreign key. We have a bridge chart for the details of the order, which is the order ID combined with the item ID or item IDs of whatever is purchased. Orders and customers are connected by customer ID, which is the foreign key up in orders. And then we have another bridge table, since you can have a many-to-many relationship between customers and shipping addresses. And the way that is delineated or broken out into one record at a time is through a combination primary key created with customer ID and the shipping ID that the order is going to. One more thing I wanted to note here that you're going to see in the web interface is that initially I had set the zip code as an integer, which turned out to be a mistake because if you put in a zip code that begins with 0, integer will drop that 0. So my web form to create changes in the database is basically to update that, since I changed zip code to fair care. And it's basically to re-enter the zip codes so that they will list the 0 in the field. Okay, so now we are up to looking at some of the queries, samples of the queries done in SQL. This is a fairly simple one. This is to search orders between the beginning of March and the end of March 2021. This could be set to any time period to check for trends as to when things sell, when the store is busier and when it is less busy. The next one is much more specific. This one is search for specific type of manufacturer, in this case Pyrex. And the information it's capturing from the home decor table and the inventory table includes the specific item. So you've got a green mixing bowl, a yellow dip bowl. And then you also get the condition and the price. So if you have someone who's specifically looking for something from Pyrex, you can tell them what they have, you can tell them what the condition is in, and you can tell them what price you're looking for. All right, now we are going to go to the web interface. The first thing would be to add a customer. This would be useful if it was someone buying in person as well. So you could add their information. I am going to enter someone. In a full address. And we will submit. One record added, and then we can go over to our database, refresh it, and check to make sure that that went into the customers table. Oh, there we go, right at the bottom there. So the next thing we're going to look at is removing inventory. In a full interface, you would be able to remove inventory by multiple different things. You could maybe go by year era, you could go by type, if we decided we didn't want to sell things for the kitchen anymore. In this case, I've decided to use the example of condition. So now we're going to remove items by their condition. Say that we have a couple of items that are in very poor condition and they're just not selling. So we have decided to remove very poor from the database. Items with very poor condition deleted. Let's just refresh over here and check. And those are gone. So the next thing that we have in our interface here is different types of inventory search. In this case, we can search home decor by condition and books by condition. There are some slightly different types that we have. So we have two different searches here. It goes to excellent, here it goes to near fine. So let's look up what we have in fair condition. So those are the three things that are in fair condition. You also get their decor type, in this case, kitchen, tabletop, and wall, and their price. For books, let's look up near fine. And as you can see, we just have one item, and this one gives the title instead of the type of item it is. If you search by year, you can do either a specific year. So let's try 1963. We don't have anything, so you get a message that says no items from that year or era. But if you try the 1960s, you get the whole list that are listed that way. So, and here is a series of searches that you can do regarding customers, the location of where orders are coming from, and checking to see if a customer has shipped to someone else. A search like that could be useful if you want to save the shipping, the second address along with the customer. Like if they say, oh, what was that person's address again? You can sort of look it up in this. But let's start with customer last name. Let's start with Mr. Dave Grohl, who has made 2 orders, as you can see here. I'm going to show you the orders by state and search Maine, which you're going to get the same records because his address is in Maine. So there you go. That gives you the state first, and then gives you the order amounts, the order numbers, and the name of the customer. And we're going to look at this one. This is going to show you the name of the person who submitted the order, who put in the order, their order number, and the name of the person they shipped to. So there you go. You have Allison Page with the customer ID of 3, shipped to Tom Hinchliffe. I think I said order ID. I meant to say customer ID. It will show you the customer, their ID, and the name of the person that they shipped to. The last thing to show you is the update zip code section. As I mentioned when I was covering the database design, I had a little error where the listing the zip code as an integer cut off the zeros at the beginning of zip codes. So we are going to go through an update using a customer's last name. So we're going to start with Burner, and we are going to actually go over here and look at the customers list. So as you can see, Burner right now, her zip code is listed as 2184. So we're going to fix that by putting in 02184. Submitting that, 1 record modified. We'll go over here and check it. This is useful to do in an HTML form because that way anyone who was working for the store who didn't have direct access to MySQL in the database could just go through, fill out the form. And as you can see, it has been updated to 02184. Okay, I believe that is everything. Again, here's the front page interface with a little about. And I hope you have enjoyed my walkthrough of the Vera's Vintage administrative database. Thank you so much.